Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Prism Tarot. My name is Bix. Ooh, why is my voice always so raspy when I start? Jesus. Um, just a reminder, I am genderless. I use they, them pronouns. Please do not call me she or he, they or them. You can call me Bix or Bijou or Prism Tarot. I answered all three of those. Just a brief refresher for anybody who hasn't been here before. I am a psychic medium who uses tarot, and oracle decks is my main method. Well, my main on-camera method of connecting with the divine. So we're going to get started. I didn't really have a plan for this one. We can just kind of keep this a general, what spirit wants you to know reading. I hesitate to even make predictions about what it was. I was just about to say, you know, I feel like there's going to be a little bit of this in it, or I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to let it come out. This is really interesting, because I definitely, again, was about to sit down and play some video games, some Sims. I have a house that I want to build on Sims. I was gonna sit down and play some Sims, and I was like, let me just do a tarot reading real quick. I did film yesterday, so I'm trying to be consistent. I was like, okay, you had a day off, because I wasn't at home for the night. I didn't have my equipment. Ooh. Sorry, a little gassy. I'll take these. And I was like, I want to film before I sit down, because then, you know, you ever play video games, you get like really sucked into them and you look up and it's 4 a.m. That's usually what happens to me. And I was like, oh, and then I'm either just not going to film at all because I'm going to be like, oh, well, it's too late and I'm already tired. Or I'm going to have to stop right when I'm in the middle of video gaming, and I want that to be, you know, stress-free. Not having to worry. I can just enjoy video gaming knowing that I got, you know, what I set out to do today done. But since I didn't really have an idea for this video, they usually give me an idea. They didn't. They were just like, film. So I didn't have any idea what I was doing. I always pick my decks intuitively. But I also try and go for like a color palette or have them match. And I was just picking decks, and I was like, okay, you want this one, you want this one, you want this one. And I sat down to kind of arrange my decks on the side, so that, because I have them off camera, so that I can pull them. And I was like, holy crap, this is a lot of this is a lot of tarot decks. I also noticed, I don't know if you guys, I had one video where I had to cut into 2 because my phone died halfway through, and that's been happening a lot. I usually film when I'm on like 30% or something like that, and then use the timer, you know, telling me it's almost time up, you know, low battery, to kind of like let me know like, okay, it's almost time to wind down. But I have full battery, and I was like sitting down and I was like, oh god, is this gonna be a long one? So I'm gonna start with oracle decks because I want to kind of like hone in on the energy before I get into it with tarot. And I only picked up like 2 or 3 tarot decks, I think. That's way too much. I'm not taking those. And I thought about pre-shuffling ahead of time. If you guys see something come into my frame, my dog is completely free-ranging. I usually like kick her out of this room beforehand, but I didn't have the heart to tonight. But I usually like, I was thinking about like, oh, I should, you know, pre-shuffle because this is a lot of oracle decks and a lot of cards, and then I can just have those laid out. But I feel like it's, you know, tarot readers sometimes are like, you know, I pre-shuffled. And like, obviously I believe them. You know, as a tarot reader, I believe them, but I feel like the general populace might not. And I wanted you guys to see the cards come out like live on camera. Okay. Nothing else from that deck. I'll take that. I hope everyone's doing okay. I'm doing better. I got some sleep. I got my energy back. Finally. I've been sleeping the whole time, like getting a solid 8 hours a night, but today was the first day that I really actually felt like I had energy. Interestingly enough, I had a fruit salad for the first time in a hot minute. My roommate made one. And take both of those. Fruits are natural sugar, and I definitely like chowed down and immediately was like, oh my god, I could fight God right now. I feel so powerful. What else do I want? I wanted a unicorn card. So far we have Squirrel Spirit, Believe in Yourself. Meerkat, gets support from a trusted group of like-minded friends. And Chameleon, stay in the background and adapt to the situation rather than being conspicuous or attempting to direct the course of events. Somebody's going through something. Nothing big, but still something. The energy I'm getting from these is a lot of like green earth energy. And also green is heart chakra. I feel like somebody close to you or some people close to you. I feel like there's like a situation going on. that isn't dire, but it's mildly stressful for the people involved. And I feel like this is a situation where you would have usually in the past tried to, what's the word I'm looking for? Tried to kind of be like a mediate. You would try to mediate the situation in the past. And kind of help all parties figure it out. But I think that you've reached a point in your spiritual journey where you realize that people need to work out their own demons, and maybe it's time for you to step aside and let them. It's almost like I'm getting kind of the feeling of like maybe this situation has come up before and you were always the cushion. You know what I mean? Like almost think of it as somebody's like, here's the example they're giving me. Imagine that like you're like, you work someplace, right? And your friend works someplace, and your friend's boss is really mean to them, right? So you will have days where the boss like makes your friend cry, and you will rush in and yell at the boss for your friend. Like, why would you treat my friend like that? Yada, yada, yada. And then it gets resolved. That's great because it's getting resolved. But in doing that, you may not realize that you are depriving your friend of reaching their breaking point and standing up to their boss themselves. And those times that you stepped in were necessary. Maybe your friend really didn't feel like anybody cared about them, or have the confidence in having really good friends that would do something like drive all the way to their work and yell on their behalf is what made them feel loved enough to like grow a backbone, built their confidence. And then this person cares about me. I must be worth caring for, which then gradually turns into, I can defend myself. You're getting into the phase right now where you need to let that person defend yourself. But you know this. Then I have not a horse, direction, and not a fairy, magic. I want more oracle cards. Like it says, stay in the background and adapt to the situation rather than being conspicuous or attempting to direct the course of events. And then I found it funny that we have not a horse, direction. I feel like you're operating in such a way that you know that you're no longer needed for this. You're no longer needed as a catalyst for the situation. Maybe, if we go back to that example with a friend has a boss who's really mean to them, and you always come in and step in, maybe the whole reason why that boss was, you were resolving the situations by coming in and handling it for your friend, but it kept happening over and over again. Why? Because your boss understands that your friend is a pushover. So even if you firmly reset that boundary over and over again, the boss is going to continue to push it. The actual way to stop the harassment or whatever is going on at work in the situation is for your friend to grow up and stop allowing themselves to be targeted, because weak people will find people that they view as weak and bully them to feel better about themselves. If your friend becomes more self-actualized and confident, they can no longer be bullied, and that remedies the situation. And maybe you're having this feeling with like that now that you're realizing it's time for you to step aside, you may be feeling like you enabled your friend. But I want to like go back and reassert that part where I said that maybe showing up for your friend and defending them in front of, sorry, I just had a thought. Just got a little personal. Maybe showing up for your friend repeatedly and being like, I love you, you're my friend, I'm not gonna let anybody talk to that, was exactly the push that they needed to build their own self-confidence. So don't feel like there's a little energy of, if I had just stepped out of this earlier and let my friend deal with it, she wouldn't be going through this for this long. That's not true. It would still be going on, absolutely, but your friend may have never become brave enough to stand up for themselves, if not for you with the direction, pointing the way, showing them. Like maybe I'm getting the vision in my head of like maybe your friend was staying in the background watching you stand up to the boss, and they learned what to say, how to counter, the kind of energy you need to come with to stand up for yourself. These people were watching you and learning from you, and now it's time for them to like put into action what they learned on their own. With the not a fairy magic card, this is purple intuitive energy. So know that you were acting if in that moment of you first standing up for your friend for them, you felt like you needed to do that, like that was the right thing to do, and now you're looking back and going like, oh my God, did I enable them? Oh my God, maybe I should let them stand up for themselves. Know that your intuition was correct in this scenario. Your intuition was correct for you to step in because it was needed for you to step in. Also, I just noticed that believe in yourself is here. So that like goes right back into what I said about your friend needing to believe in themselves by having somebody else believe in them first. And get support from a trusted group of like-minded friends. There you go. You know, enough said. You've been a good support and model for the people around you, and it's time for you're realizing that it's time for you to pull your energy back and allow them to be the stars of their own show. You know what I mean? Which is good. Green, which always makes me think of earth, which is grounded energy. It's maybe like yelling at the boss for your friend. I'm going to keep going with this analogy because it works. Maybe yelling at the boss to your friend was something like, you know, dealing with, like, let's say the boss is like a narcissist. Dealing with a narcissist is actually really, really like draining. You know, it feels good to stand up for yourself, but it's also a lot of screaming, yelling, you know what I mean? So it's almost like this is your mini vacation to sit back and be grounded in your energy. Because I see, like, if you're charging to work to defend somebody else, that's very like red, fiery passion energy, maybe a little bit of air with, you know, like communicating the way that you feel and things like that. Now you're in grounded earth energy, kind of understanding that you've done your part and there's nothing else for you to do. You know, I really thought when I went into this with absolutely no information that I was going to really struggle to come up with a message. That was actually pretty fast. Go me. I rock. I want one of these animal spirit cards to come out. I have a lot of animal spirit decks. I'm recognizing this. I know this about myself, and trust me, if I show you my Etsy card, I have like 5 more that I want. Fun fact about me, before I became an astrologist, I wanted to be a zoologist when I was a kid, and I went to school for biology with the intention of taking my biology credits and moving them towards zoology when I got into the zoology program. And then that didn't work out, so I ended up going to work for, thank you, inspiration and purity. I ended up going to work for, I don't even want to name them, but I worked for certain, let's just say, if you think of where you go to buy your pet supplies, there are certain chains that everybody is familiar with, and I have worked for both of them as a dog groomer. But I was always like a really like into animal fun facts and information, especially animal behavior and things like that. Which is funny because I am a firm believer that everything that happens to you happens for a reason. And you know, I own dogs and plan on having lots of pets, so I'm glad I had I was able to work in the animal industry. But from a tarot standpoint, oh, this is too many cards. This is way too many. From a tarot standpoint, I can look in hindsight and be like, oh yeah, I'm so glad that the universe that one just fell out. Oh, 2 just fell out. That the universe put me in a place to learn so much about animals, because I use a lot of animal oracle decks, and I definitely call on those the things that I know from years of watching like Animal Planet and stuff. Definitely use that to like guide my readings. Okay, so we have birth, vision, flattery, optimism, excitement. And they're not giving me anything for that yet. The other thing about this reading is, I don't know if you guys noticed, but in the last few videos that I've done, assuming again that I upload these in orders, but in the last few videos that I did, I definitely had like crystals and stuff here. And I noticed I didn't feel compelled to do that this time. And immediately, you know, how I saw all my decks and I was like, oh my God, that's a lot of decks. I also was like, oh crap. I guess they're really going to get into it with a whole bunch of cards, because they're giving me extra space. They're making sure that I have extra space to lay all these cards out. Oh, that was fast. The world is built to reward masculine energy. If it's a habit, it's probably masculine. If you're uncomfortable, it's probably feminine. Balance yourself. And I felt the need to put this with the purity and the chameleon card, which is telling you to stand back, and also the direction. So just like an overview for people who don't know, masculine and feminine energy their thing. Everybody has half. It has absolutely nothing to do with gender or lack of thereof. It's just energy. They're almost like a yin and yang. So if one aspect, if anything has an opposite, one of them is masculine and one of them is feminine. One of the terms, and light and dark, in and out, forward, backwards. Like, it's like a yin and yang thing. You need both. People, like to talk about the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and divine feminine and divine masculine are people tend to pick one energy that they are more comfortable with and wield more naturally. For women, it is usually feminine energy. For cis men, it is usually masculine energy. Usually, not always. There are plenty masculine, women, cis women that can be considered the divine masculine as someone who's non-binary and androgynous. Like, it's my business. But know that it's random. As someone who's, I definitely identify as either divine masculine or divine feminine. If you know enough, you could probably guess which one. But I identify as one other than the other. So that being said, in a very simplified format, the masculine energy is the energy that does, it's action. I'm going to go out and make things happen. The feminine receives, she manifests, and waits for the universe to bring things to her. So with that being said, sitting in the background and watching the scenario play out, I have purity and the direction, which is kind of like, I see the purity as purity of energy here. Almost like how I said that, like, arguing with somebody on somebody else's behalf, or arguing in general, is very stressful for your energy. And I think that's always been true for you. I don't think it's ever stopped you. I think you're one of those people that would absolutely say, I don't like conflict, but I think that not liking conflict has never stopped you from getting right in the middle of conflict. You know what I mean? That being said, you don't enjoy it. It doesn't make you feel good. You would rather not do it, but you do it because you feel like it's necessary. You're reaching a point where it's becoming, I feel like I said in another video that you're in a good headspace, and it's very important to keep your energy as it is. You know what I mean? Don't let anything like crush. Please don't. What is the word? There's a song. Please don't something my vibe. But you're not gonna let anything mess with your vibe, and that's what you need to do to bring what's in with you. And when this card is, the world is built to reward masculine energy, which is, if you think of like go-getters, hustle culture, that's what's considered success in our culture. It's built to reward masculine energy. So you're raised in a world where you are encouraged to hustle, to go get, and this and that. Feminine energy is demonized. That's why we have things like, we need feminism, because anything that's seen as nurturing, feminine, gentle is seen as inferior and weak. If you're uncomfortable, it's probably feminine. Balance yourself. To this, I want to say that you were probably in the earlier parts of your life, or whenever. I feel like because our society is masculine, whoever's watching this is someone who is more comfortable with feminine energy. That is to say, you're probably a divine feminine. But that is to say that just because you're more comfortable with it, you learn very quickly that feminine energy doesn't get you anywhere, quote unquote. So you learned how to embody masculine energy. That's what I kind of mean when I say you hate conflict, but you never shy away from conflict. You have learned how to be in a masculine energy, even though it doesn't come naturally to you. Now you're getting into the part of your life where feminine energy is what's going to get you what you want most of all. So how I said that stepping out and letting your friend handle this themselves, you realize that that's what needs to be done. That's the direction card, that you see the bigger picture, that even though it seems like by stepping out of it and allowing it to unfold on itself, you may almost tend to feel like the situation needs you to come in and mediate it. It no longer needs you. And you understand that you could be in that feminine energy of receiving, understanding the universe is going to give you the resolution you want without you having to lift a finger, just by being in the energy of receiving, and also receiving with faith, because that's important. You can't just sit back and do nothing. You have to sit back and do nothing with the confidence that nothing is exactly all you need to do. You know what I mean? There's a difference between doing that and just giving up and going as hopeless and waiting for the universe to fix it. You have to do it with hope, with faith. I don't need to lift a finger because the universe is going to fix the situation. I'm in a good energy. I don't have to step out of it because my good energy is going to bring the resolution that I need. That's what I'm getting. Oh, that's a lot of cards, but I'll take a couple. Yes, no, and maybe would all be true and all be lies. And you've already learned this lesson. You won't make the same mistake. Go make new ones. I'm going to get into that because that feels like a topic change to me. So I'm going to get rid of everything except for what I've discussed already. Need the peacock inspiration. I got the peacock card on this channel before. And I think I told you guys that to me the peacock is like, the flattery card went on right on top of it. I didn't notice that. The peacock kind of represents being self-aware. Not self-aware in the sense of like, I think I'm the shit. In some readings of the peacock, I've seen people say like, you know, peacock energy could be you being too full of yourself, thinking that, you know, you're all that and you're really not. I'll take this. Think that you're all that and you're actually really not. You know, because obviously peacocks show off. They're, you know, they show off with the tail feathers. Sorry, I'm multitasking, losing my train of thought. They show off. But the thing is that like you can go look at a peacock and go, oh, he thinks he's all that. He's showing off because he thinks he's great. Have you ever seen a peacock's tail feathers? They're absolutely beautiful. So to me, the peacock card is showing off assets that are absolutely true. It's not showboating. It's showboating, but it's showboating that you deserve to do. It's almost like the difference between like someone who like is like, I am the best athlete in the whole wide world, and they've like won little league. That would be toxic peacock energy. The peacock in its true form reads to me as someone winning the Olympics and then being like, I'm the best swimmer in the world. And you're like, yeah, you are, because you have the gold medal in your hand. You absolutely deserve to be, you know, gloating about that. If I was the fastest swimmer in the world, I would absolutely be bragging. You know what I mean? It's like bragging about something that's absolutely legitimate to brag about. Like, you should be proud of that. That is awesome and excellent. I want more about this golden egg. With the you already learned this lesson, you won't make the same mistake. Go make new ones. I see the butterfly is that maybe sometimes there's like a constant fear here that you're going to repeat the same mistakes over and over again. That if like, say the example you're giving me, if you've had friends betray you in the past, you may hesitate to make new friends because you're like, these ones are going to betray me too. Know that you learned when you made bad friends in the past, you learned through that experience what red flags to look for with friends, which means that you are now safe to go make friends, and you can feel safe that you're not going to, you, like it says, you will make new mistakes, not the same ones over and over again. Don't be so chicken shit. Don't be so chicken shit of new experiences. Or specifically in this, do not be so chicken shit of things that you faced before returning again. Because you're different now and you continue to grow over each one. If something tore you down 4 years ago, and it's almost like if you imagine, like, let's use the bad friend analogy here. If you made bad friends in the past and like it was like not an experience where you like feel like you walked away victorious, you told them off. It was like an experience where you had bad friends who ruined your life, made you cry your eyes out, and it took years and years for you to get over and really realize that I didn't do anything wrong. They were crappy, but it was traumatic, right? So you may now, you know, live your life in a way where you avoid these people because you're like, they ruined my life. They gaslit me. I used to feel so crappy when I was around them. If I bump into them again, all those feelings are going to come back. You need to recognize that you're a lot stronger than you used to be. The things that shook you up 5, 4, 10 years ago are not going to shake you up now. You need to like release that fear of bumping into old things. It's like facing your childhood monsters. You may feel like you're still that little child, but you're not. You're a fully grown adult with weapons. You don't need to be scared of the same things that scared you years ago. And I think that spirit keeps bringing back old things to you, and you kind of see it as like, oh my God, the universe is punishing me, or why is this happening again? I thought that I thought I got my energy correct. Why am I attracting in the same old crap? You're attracting it in because the universe is trying to teach you how much stronger you are. And the best way they know to do that is to show you physically by bringing things back that used to have you crumple to your knees and showing you almost like you're like, oh my God, if I saw my childhood friend again, it would just destroy me. You know, I would just cry on the spot. And so the universe will bring your childhood friend back and you're like, huh, I'm not scared of you anymore. And the universe is like, do you see how much you've grown? Do you see how much better you're doing? Do you see, almost because there might be a tendency here to like downplay your own growth and feel like you're still the person you were years ago. You know, you're like, I'm better, but I'm not really that different. The universe is like, you're really different and we're going to show you. And I'm noticing that the optimism, this was a spiritual awareness card with purple, that intuition. I'm noticing that it's the same color, purple, spot almost as the optimism card here. And with that, that tells me that you've become more spiritually aware of things like synchronicities and your ancestors and spirit guides. And part of your confidence, they want to know, lies, a large chunk of your confidence lies in that awareness that you have guides that are looking out for you, and they're not going to let anything bad happen to you. You know what I mean? Like, you don't approach things the same way, because it's like you've kind of learned that if it's happening to me, it's happening for me, not to me. And it's like you kind of feel like, maybe before, the example they're giving me is you know, if you would drive places, you would be a very cautious driver because you were like, oh my God, I might die in a car accident. Now you've got enough experience behind your belt to know that if I was to get into something that was almost a car crash, I have the kind of spiritual backing where my guides, my ancestors are going to protect me. You know what I mean? You're almost realizing you're one of those people that will have a Jesus take the wheel kind of moment, you know? So you're, with the excitement card, it's like you're seeking out new experiences with confidence because you feel protected. They're giving me the image of like a kid with a sitting in a pool with with floaties on. It's like, maybe even if you had floaties on your whole life, but you've only just realized they were there. So before, somebody would throw you in a pool and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to drown. I'm going to drown. And now you realize you have spiritual floaties. To put it simply, I'm so sorry. That's what they're giving me. Use spiritual floaties. And you're like, I'll be fine because the floaties aren't going to let me drown. Makes sense? So it's like, now you jump in pools willingly, happily, excitedly, knowing that you have something there to catch you. And that thing that's catching you is your spiritual team. And with this, I have emotions. With vision, I'm gonna put the birth card with the butterfly card, is that's you birthing like a new you. But with the vision card, I just got this, sorry. With the vision card with a similar color palette, this almost seems like you have also, like, I'm not saying that you were perfect in the past or that you weren't perfect, but I think there was some emotional immaturity in the past, or at least you struggle with things like anxiety and weren't fully aware of when you were being triggered. Like, the example they're giving me is that maybe you used to just go off on people sometimes, and the people around you would be like, oh, they're just in a bad mood. But now you're reaching the point where you're emotionally, awareness, vision, emotionally aware enough that you can kind of go, oh, I'm only acting that way because I'm in a bad mood. I'm sorry, you didn't actually do anything wrong. I'm just grumpy. And that's another sign of your growth. With the birth card, I think that you are not even aware yet of how emotionally intelligent you are. I almost kind of want to say that, how do I phrase that? They're giving me like a fuzzy meaning on that. Give me a second. I almost want to say that everybody, the collective, all human souls or all souls, period, on the planet are becoming more emotionally aware. And I think that you were always a step above everyone. You may still have been emotionally immature, but you were a step above everybody else. Everybody else has bumped up to your past level and you've bumped up another step. So they're kind of saying that, like, you've gotten better, but you were always better at that than most people. You're noticing now that you're up to the next level, but know that you're always a step above. They don't want you to take that as like, I used to be emotionally immature and now I'm not. They were like, you were already more emotionally mature than most people, damn near everybody. But everybody else around you is getting more emotionally mature, and you've accelerated more. It's almost like if you imagine like two people start climbing a tree. That's the example I'm going to give. Two people start climbing a tree. You had like a 30-second head start. You started climbing beforehand. So you start climbing beforehand. About a minute later, the other person starts. You're going at the same rate, so you're still ahead of that person. Then the person below you speeds up. You speed up. So it's like, they're like, you could look back at your previous speed and be like, oh my God, I wasn't going that fast at all. And they're like, you were always faster than the people above you. You're just going even faster now, and you're still in front of them. I hope that made some sense. Halfway through that analogy, my brain was like, bitch, what are you saying? I agree wholeheartedly. I've never used this deck in a reading before outside of like a non-me reading, so this is interesting. I'll take that. Oh, and the thing that I got from the flattery card in the middle was that they're kind of giving me the point of this reading by being in the center. It's like a let me tell you what's great about your reading. This is just spirit complimenting you, because I feel like you need a little ego boost right now. I will take orange calcite and nothing else. So here we have the Herkimer diamond. What it is, Herkimer diamonds are not in fact diamonds. They are far more attainable, extra hard, clear quartz beauties with their own alluring energetic properties. Found in New York's Mohawk Valley, the clarity and two naturally faceted ends, i.e. double termination of Herkimers, and then the diamond monkier. Who needs it? Reiki masters, travelers on the spiritual path, highly sensitive people. Where to put it in spaces that you want to zone as sacred, when to use it, when you're reaching for clearer than ever through spirituality, therapy, or healing work. Brush off all those unwanted vibes from Herkimer diamond and power wash your energy. That was a lot to read. This is why I don't use these cards. It's literally the reason why, is there was a lot of text on them. And then orange calcite, what it is, orange calcite is the hot-blooded, artistic, love on the brain, wild child of the calcite family. Who needs it? Artists holding up the proverbial paintbrush and staring at the proverbial blank canvas. Anyone whose sex life needs a little more life. Where to put it? The honeymoon suite, the studio. When to use it? When you want to make something beautiful. Orange calcite's energy is all about breaking through the fog and fear that hang to the paths of creation. When you want to add some energy to your creative process, or take on the Kama Sutra one page at a time, get with orange calcite's sun-kissed vibes. I feel like the orange is also, I want to say solar plexus chakra energy. And these two together, power wash your energy and unlock your creativity, kind of let me know if you've been going through something the last few months. It's like letting me know what the point of it was. Is spirit is like, we were trying to power wash your energy, scrub all of that insecurity, all of those trauma. It's time to heal your trauma, all of that away, so that you can unlock your creativity. And when I say creativity, I do not just mean specifically art creativity. I mean creativity in solutions, problem solving, confidence, things like that. Creativity is all about experimenting with things you haven't tried before, into new combinations. And how are you going to have the guts to experiment with new things that you haven't tried before, and seeing what works and putting together, if you're scared that you're going to fail, if you're scared that if you do things wrong, they're going to ruin your life. You have perfectionist clogging to you. If you have a voice in the back of your head telling you you're not good enough, and it doesn't even matter if you try, nobody's ever going to care what you say or think, they're ridding you of all of that, so that you can have self-confidence again, in order to do anything that you need to do. That's been the point of this journey. I'll take that. See, journey and room. This is orange as well. I want another clarifier card. The journey card is making the room card, sorry, being orange with the creativity and vision is making me feel like they want to give you the advice that if you really want to boost this energy of creativity, confidence, healing your solar plexus chakra, a great way to experiment that would be in your personal space. Like, and so I almost got like literally the words, it's time to redecorate your bedroom in your head, but that goes to say your style, the things that you have that's yours, you know what I mean? Your bedroom, your house, your style, what you wear, your social media, those are all ways of presenting a face to the world. You know what I mean? Everybody knows that when you dress a certain way, people are going to make certain assumptions about you. And people who are very creative with their style know how to use the assumptions people are going to make about how they dress to their advantage. A very good example of that is that I am small and kind of cutesy looking. Just generally as a person, I'm very petite. I tend to wear a lot of black and masculine clothes because I want people to not see me as cute and see me as someone to be taken seriously, if that makes any sense. I'm not going like, oh, you should believe everything I say because I'm wearing all black, but I'm just saying if a small girl goes in to a corner store, someone who's 5 foot and very petite, and she's wearing a pink dress with bows and kittens, you're gonna probably mess with her over the same girl wearing 6 piercings in her face. You know what I mean? That's kind of like what I'm getting at. So they're saying that a very safe way to experiment and unleash your creativity, and the way that they would suggest, would be in your personal spaces. Things that are completely yours, that make statements about who you are. You know, when you walk into somebody's bedroom, you can say a lot about them. And don't take that as pressure. They're like, no pressure. It's not like, you know, you have to worry about giving people the right impression, but they're giving you like a safe space to express yourself. Also with the journey and room is always a card of like, almost like the hermit card to me, being going within into your own space, kind of separating yourself from others and figuring out what you want and what your true path says. So it's almost like if you've been feeling like you've been withdrawing from your friends or family members or people that you care about, or maybe not going out as much or hanging out with your friends as much, it's because you instinctively know that you need to focus on yourself and your own energy right now. And I have toxic right here. And I also have guide. And I'm going to clarify those with... What am I going to clarify those with? I'm going to clarify those with nothing. I'm going into tarot. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, give me one moment to clean up my cards, take a sip of coffee. Let's start with this. I couldn't explain it to you if you paid me money to, but that was a very clear indicator for me to move on into tarot. So that's what I'm going to do. I want to see what they've got to say. There's also a very specific card in this deck that comes out damn near every single time I read from it. Interested to see if it comes out today. It's been like a nonstop thing. I was also saying a few days ago, someone posted something about the Tower card, and I was like, I haven't seen the Tower card in a really long time. I haven't pulled it in any of my readings, as far as I know, in like weeks. And of course, you know, because I've said that and noticed it, I'm surely gonna pull it soon. Fingers crossed. I actually like the Tower card. I see it as the universe taking its like cleanup squad and removing everything from my life that's not supposed to be there. It can be, you know, traumatizing because you'll lose friends and, you know, maybe jobs and careers and moving. It's a lot of change, and that's really startling, but the changes are always good ones. It's like the universe going, hey, we try to tell you to make these changes yourself and you wouldn't listen, so we're going to do it for you. These people are not supposed to be in your life. It's less scary when you're spiritually awakened and you're kind of aware that the only way things can happen is if they're supposed to happen. So I kind of used to, you know, be screaming, crying, oh my God, my life is falling apart. And now I'm kind of like, you know, I strap in my seatbelt and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I sure do wish it would stop. But I know that when I get out of the moving vehicle, we're going to be someplace nice. So, you know, I'm here for the ride. Oh, and of course, nothing's coming out as I'm shuffling. Oh, I speak too soon. We have the Star. I love this deck, by the way. Oh, wait, that wanted to come out. I should let it. The Tower in reverse. Oh, it's like I'm psychic or something. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that just crazy? Of course. I also really love the Tower card in this deck. Look at that. How cool is that? I'm going to keep that upright. Oh, and we had 2 more fall out. 3 of Swords. 10 of Swords. Somebody lost something or someone they really cared about. It wasn't good for them. Or wasn't good for them then. And the universe wants to talk about it. I feel like this is about love. Oh, thank you. And the Fool in reverse. Can I get an additional card? So I'll tell you what I'm saying here. With the 10 of Swords and the Devil. I feel like I should just list all the cards. I don't know if you can see this. So we have the 10 of Swords, 3 of Swords, the Star, the Tower, the Devil, Justice, 9 of Cups, and the Fool in reverse. And that is the only reverse card that I left in reverse. Well, actually, they're telling me to put that Tower back in reverse. So these sides are in reverse. So what I'm getting from this is that you lost something with the Star and the Nine of Cups. This is like heavy wish fulfillment. Something you wanted really badly. And with the Star here, it's something that the universe wants you to have. But it was taken away from you. And I feel like that was traumatic for you because you were starting to trust your own intuition and be like, if I feel this strongly that something is good for me in my life, despite having the Devil in the Tower here, which is two energies of like toxic energy. Maybe it was like somebody who was a good friend that had like their moments, you know what I mean? Like someone that you really felt like was one of your, you know, those, a soulmate, a friend or something, or a job that you really enjoyed that was just really high stress. And it got taken away from you. You were getting in this headspace of feeling like, if I feel this strongly, intuitively, with the Star card and the Nine of Cups, that this thing is good for me, or that I'm aligned with it. I'm feeling like this feeling of connection, like a bond to something that you don't usually feel. Like it felt right, despite what it looked like with these, you know, Tower cards here. You were in a headspace of feeling like if you felt like, if I feel this strongly about it, that means it's going to stay. And with the Ten of Swords and the Three of Swords here, and also the Tower and the Devil, it didn't stay. The universe like ejecto deleted it out of your life. Kind of how I said earlier, the universe will remove things that no longer serve you. And if you won't do it, they will. I got, for these came out. Play chess in the checker game and you'll win every time. Take your time. If you rush this, you will have to start all over again. And the universe always rewards a leap of faith, which is funny because we have the Fool there. So I feel like this thing was taken away from you, and it was devastating, heartbreaking. With the Justice card here, you understand why it was taken away. I'll use the analogy, if it was a job that you really love and a career path that you really like, you know, you're like, I'm really happy and I love this job, but the work that requires to upkeep it is too draining. It was like you were really enjoying your work and your career and you felt like you were finally doing what you meant to be doing. You were meant to be doing your whole life, but it was putting you in a burnout. And so the universe took it away from you and you're like, but I really love that job. And, you know, I felt so fulfilled, but I understand that like I was at my breaking point. You know what I mean? It's almost that kind of energy. So surprise, surprise, the universe took it away from you to heal it. With the Tower in reverse. Be it job, situation, friendship, romance, something like that. The universe took it away to heal it. With the play chess in a checkers game and you'll win every time. I always say we play chess, the universe plays checkers. We play checkers and the universe plays chess. But you can't see the chessboard. That's what your intuition is. Your intuition is like, you ever heard of the butterfly effect? Which is interesting because we had the butterfly card before. But you ever heard of the butterfly effect? How you can do one tiny thing and it'll have a ripple effect throughout all of history. Like if you go back in time and you crush a leaf, crushing that leaf will make sure that this tree dies in this spot, and then somebody will fall over the broken tree, and then all that snowboards, and you end up killing Albert Einstein just because you moved one thing. That's actually how the universe works, spiritually speaking. So in this case, it's like this thing was taken away from you because you needed to be separated for it to fix. Maybe if I go back to the job example, you have passion for this career, but it's very draining for you, right? Just imagine that. And then imagine like the universe makes it so that you break your leg or something, or you need workman's comp, or you have to move away and you can't do that job anymore. So years go by and you're, you know, always wanting to go back to that job, but you just can't seem to make it happen. And then one day you are able to come back in. And you're like, oh my God, I finally got this job. You know, I'm able to commute to this job. I'm so happy and get back in the career that I love. Come to find out, while you were gone in those 10 years, other people unionized, workers reform happened, and now the job is structured completely differently in a way that it will no longer cause you burnout. The universe, when it told you to get out, knew that if you were just patient and you waited and had hope, you'd be able to come back to this career and be able to be in it for the long haul. Like it says, take your time. If you rush it, you would have to start all over again. And maybe something else like, you know, You don't know, because the thing is, if you listen to your intuition, you never find out the bad thing is going to happen. But maybe you would stay in that career for 10 years and you wouldn't even made it that long. Maybe the burnout would have caused you to kill yourself. If you tried to stick out 10 years until everything was fixed, you would have just killed yourself 3 months from now, and then you would have never been in your career. So the universe removed you from it, knowing that it would be fixed and ready for you in 10 years. That's kind of the energy I'm getting here. And you can very easily apply that to relationship, which I'm going to do now because I have the Tower card here. So if we take that example of the workers unionizing, it's like something had to hit its boiling point before the workers decided to reform the workplace. That hasn't happened yet. It hasn't. That's what you're waiting on, is that breaking point that's going to change things back into a situation where you can come back in, and this thing that you want so badly won't harm you anymore. I'm waiting for one more card to come out so I can put it here, and it's not. I've been shuffling this whole time, I swear to God. That's too many. Thank you. I'll take that one. It will happen whether you're anxious or not, so what's the point of being anxious? Need I say more? Speaks for itself. But they're telling me this is about romance, so I'm going to go into this with what is this deck called? Like the sexual tarot, something. Ooh, you guys want to see something funny? My friend made these baggies for me to put my tarot decks in. So this deck has very like sexual cards. This is the bag that I keep it in. How cool is that? How cool is that? That's how I always remember. And I never use this deck because it's very sexual and people get weird about it, but you're just gonna have to cope today because they told me so. So we're gonna use it. Maybe I'll cover up the worst parts if I have to. But I don't think there's anything like explicit. Honestly, showing that bag might have been worse than anything that was on these cards. So yeah. So they're telling me that if this situation, because you have to basically make this reading resonate for you. Figure out a way to work it. If you're here watching this, it's for a reason. Figure out a way to work this reading into your life in a way that makes sense. Even if it's negative affirmations, like I'm telling you that this thing was good for you, and you're sitting here going, oh, hearing you say that feels wrong. Know that the thing wasn't good for you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Work this into your situation. So like I said earlier, this situation I just described could apply to friendships, relationships, job, career, anything like that. They're saying apply it in a lot of ways. Also know this is just generally what happens. It's the universe removes something from your life and you feel like it's really meant for you, it's going to come back. Just know that the separation was necessary. But they're saying that for a lot of people, this relates to romance, and they're telling me to pull cards for that, because they're like the romance people need clarification. Take that. I will admit this deck is also really, really hard to read. Oh, I fell on the devil. And I feel like, what is that in the background right there? I want to say it's a person, but we've got like these little horn things right here. I spilled wax on these cards. Ignore it. Okay. That's a lot. Knave of Swords, which is the Knight of Swords. The Lovers, clarifying, the Lovers goes right on top of the Star and the Nine of Cups, so the soulmate. And the High Priestess. The Eight of Swords, I feel like the universe took this person. I'm gonna stop saying things. I'm gonna put this in the context they wanted in. This person was removed from your life because I'm getting the image of two people that were very happy together. I think that you were very happy with this person and they were very happy with you. I think that the relationship overall was great, but I feel like it had its kinks. Not red flags, but kinks. Like areas where the person could have done a little bit better. Maybe they had I'm getting the feeling of arguments that just didn't need to happen. Whatsoever, because people aren't perfect, but this person was a little bit like a step below, like, are they even trying? You know what I mean? So with that being said, it's like the relationship was maybe a 9 out of 10. maybe everybody else you dated has been a 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10. This person's a 9 out of 10. And that one that you're missing are those little kinks that I was talking about. Those I should stop saying the word kinks with the sexual deck. Those little like issues, small issues you may have had with this person that you just couldn't like. Right. So they're saying that because this relationship was a 9 out of 10, you may have an issue where you don't really believe a 10 out of 10 exists. It's like you're like, this person is great and it's great almost all of the time. That's good enough. The universe is like, that's not good enough. You deserve a 10 out of 10. That does not mean that this person isn't right for you. That means that this person needs to grow into a 10 for you. And they're saying that if you stayed in this relation, because it was a 9 out of 10, you had a hard time leaving because there was so much happiness here. So much happiness. Ten of Swords is ending a situation, and the devil was toxic energy. There was so much happiness here that the things that the person was doing to you that you did not like were not nearly bad enough to make you abandon a almost perfect relationship. But the universe wants more for you. So this may have been a really messy, dramatic, almost nonsensical breakup. Like you don't even fully understand why this person wants to leave you. And it had to happen that way because it was like they had to rip the Band-Aid off. They had to make a situation, the universe had to make a situation to rip you two apart because you guys had so much happiness. You were never going to be able to have the self-control to stay away from each other long enough to like heal. These things needed to be healed so that your relationship could be a 10 out of 10. And it's almost like they're using the sexual tarot, and especially with this card, I feel like it's a lot of sexual energy between you two. Like I'm getting you can't keep your hands off each other vibe, that maybe you recognize certain times that, you know, I should walk away from this and give this person. So like some people can be mature and have relationships where they're like, okay, well, this is great and I love you, but we need to grow, we need to separate, you know, we need a little bit of time away from each other to grow. I feel like that you two are so honestly obsessed and in love with each other that had you tried to do that, I don't think you guys would have been able to resist talking, and then talking would have turned into friends with benefits, and then friends with benefits would have ended up with you guys in a full-blown relationship. Like even giving me the energy of that's what may have happened, is that you may have, or the other person may have tried to end things and just be like, okay, let's just be friends. You guys kept ending up falling back into a relationship because the stuff between you is so magnetic. So because you guys honestly lack the strength of will to stay away from each other, which is a good thing, by the way, that is a good sign for your relationship. That's a lot of passion, a lot of love between you two, because you know you lack the strength of will to stay away from each other. The universe had to step in and be like, hey, we're going to create this artificial nonsense situation to keep you guys apart, because that was the only way to get you guys to split up so you could heal. And then with the Knight of Swords, Justice, and the Three of Swords, I feel like this person I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be really upfront. Remember I said, oh, this person had some like kinks they needed to work out and some arguments that just needed to not happen. With the Justice card here, they're letting me know that whether you realize it or not, pretty much every single one of those arguments was your person being a doofus. I feel like in the past you may have shared some of the blame. Oh, I have to sneeze. Ugh, bless me. I feel like in the past you may have approached this from the angle of like, well, yeah, what they did wasn't okay, but I also did this, and I can understand how they would react that way. And the universe is like, nah, we're calling bullshit. This person was not treating you the way you deserve to be treated. Just know that, sorry, they're making me say it exactly the way they want me to say it. So give me a second. You are 100% not at fault in any of these situations. None of them were your fault. They were wrong and you were right. 100%, absolutely no negotiations, no excuse. You deserve better. They should have known better. They knew better and they didn't do better. There you go. That's it. And with the Lovers, Nine of Cups and Stars, I'm just gonna that's just a real quick, breezy, easy. But this person's your wish fulfillment. That's mutual. And they are your soulmate, and they're that what's the word? Clarifies this energy for me as to why you guys can't stay away from each other. It's almost like I'm getting like built for each other, made for each other kind of energy. Where like you both kind of know that this is your person. And when I said like you guys can't keep your hands off of each other, you end up sliding back into a relationship, it's because it's your natural state. It's like I don't really know how to explain what I'm thinking, but it's like if you try and you're trying to be friends you could never be friends with this person. You could never be just friends with this person. You could never have just a purely sexual relationship with this person because it's just honestly too deep for that. You guys feel way too much for each other. You could never. It's almost like a don't think when I say you guys lack the self-control that that's a flaw. They're like saying that nobody will be able to resist this. Just use that to understand that if your breakup was ridiculous or messy and you don't even really understand why you're not talking to this person, why this person won't talk to you, or like there feels like there's barriers between you two that doesn't even make sense. If it doesn't make sense, because they're like, we really had to mush something together. I'm getting like miscommunication, misunderstanding. You know, you ever watch a TV show where two people or read a book where two people aren't speaking to each other and they're mad at each other, and it's a miscommunication that could be fixed in literally 5 seconds if they just talk to each other. But because they won't talk to each other or give each other a chance to speak, they go like a whole season of the show mad at each other, and you're just sitting there like, this is so dumb. Please just speak to each other. That's the energy I'm getting here. And they're saying we had to make it something so stupid because that was the only way we could think of getting you guys to not speak. You know what I mean? It's like you, as the high priestess being here, may realize that it doesn't need to be this hard. This person just needs to do this stuff and then they'll be better. And it's almost like you feel like if you just got a second to talk to this person, you can clear everything up, and you just can't get in to talk to this person. They're like, we know, we're making sure. Because it would be fixed with a very quick communication. That's why we're trying to make sure you guys don't talk, because it is the only way to make sure that you guys don't have any contact. Any other situation, you guys would end up falling back into a relationship, and you're not supposed to be in a relationship until this person heals and learns to treat you better. And with the high priestess and the tower card and the fool, they're telling me to be very vague with this, so I will be. There is a situation that you know this person needs to wake up to. It's almost like all the little spats and issues that you guys kept having, arguments, came down to a few core things. And you know what they are. And maybe this person tried to make it seem like because being in a relationship with you was making them realize that they had these issues, that removing you and not having you in their life would make the feeling of discomfort go away. It's like maybe you open their eyes to the fact that they have really terrible friends, and their friends they learned all these behaviors from your friends, and you were like in the relationship like, hey, you need to stop talking to these people because they're kind of shitty. So they kind of felt like, your person kind of felt like, I feel really uncomfortable whenever my person brings these things up because they make me feel not good about themselves. Because there's truth there with the high priestess. There's truth there that they just didn't want to talk about or acknowledge, and it made them uncomfortable. So their solution to making the discomfort go away, instead of fixing it and taking your advice, was to cut you out. And they were kind of like, okay, well, if I stop my partner, if I'm no longer with my partner, I won't have somebody around that's bringing up these uncomfortable feelings that I don't want to deal with. Therefore, they'll go away. You know, and the universe knows that the feelings are going to go away eventually. Since you, with the high priest, it's like you said some things to this person that made them see their flaws and situations they didn't need to be in a brand new way. It's like you open their eyes to certain situations, and they can't unsee what you've shown them. They can't unsee it. So even when you're gone, they're noticing, oh my God, my friends are kind of annoying. They are kind of sexist. Oh my God, like that person is actually really terrible. Or I was doing a lot better before I met them. Why are we friends again? And with the tower card and the fool card here, it's the energy of, you may worry that your person is going to be one of those people that knows how they need to do better and then just doesn't do it. And is forever in that limbo of like, I'm complaining about stuff in my life that if I changed it would make my life infinitely better, but I'm just not going to make the changes. I'm just going to be miserable. Your person isn't like that. So they're not going to stay in that energy. What it is it's almost like it's almost like lava boiling over. Like it's going to get to a boiling point where they can't take it any longer, and they remove these things from their lives. Tower card. Remove the things from their lives that are impeding them and stopping them to grow. Those things that create toxic energy in their life that was infecting your relationship. They're just, with the Fool card, hold on, I have joyfulness, wedding, and despair in reverse here. So know that there's ultimately a good outcome for this. Don't worry. There's no option for a bad outcome. Don't worry about that. With this, the Fool card is taking a leap of faith. So for this, I feel like the Fool card would be your person opening their eyes and making the necessary changes on their own to remove, to use my example, their bad friends. Like really taking a stand and being like, you guys are crappy. I don't want to be friends with you. Don't ever speak with me again. Know that your person's issue is that they're scared of taking a leap of faith. I want another card for that while I'm speaking. Is they're terrified of taking a leap of faith. So the universe is like, with this card, it will happen whether you are anxious or not. So what's the point of being anxious? Know that if your person never turns around and is like, oh my God, I need to get rid of these people, the universe will make the move for them. Kind of how the universe manufactured a situation to get them out of your life because they weren't good for you and you guys needed to separate. The universe will separate them from these things and no longer serve them by force, or they're giving you can go, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. You can go willingly, or we can drag you. Take your time. If you rush us, you will have to start all over again. You gotta let them go through this on their own. You really just gotta let them go through this on your own. You know the universe will take care of it. There is, like I said, with the ultimately happy ending, there is no situation where the universe is gonna let this person be miserable. If you're a twin flame, you know how I said that you have a really great team of ancestors, powerful ancestors and spirit guides that aren't gonna let anything terrible happen to you. Know that because you're twin flames, you and this person share the same soul. So the same goes for them, which means that their spiritual team is not gonna let them go down like that. They're not. Don't worry about it. It may take longer than you expected than for them to do it on their own, but they will learn the lesson. And with the High Priestess here as well, the way you think the situation is going to go, like maybe in your head, if they have a certain friend that you know just pushes their button and you've been watching that friend, you're like, one day you're just going to do something so messed up that my partner's never going to speak to you again. If you suspect that, it's like letting me know that however you suspect the situation is going to play out is probably right on the money. Know that. I don't think anything, because you have the High Priestess card, I don't think anything here I'm saying is a surprise to you. I think it's going to play out exactly. But whatever you think the catalyst is, this person's breaking point, you're absolutely on the money with that. And I have the King of Chalices on the King of Cups. Know that there's a little bit of fear here that if the universe pushes this person out, they won't learn their lesson, quote unquote. If the universe forces them, because maybe you want this person to stand up to their, toxic demons or whatever and make the choice themselves to leave. And you're like, if the universe pushes them out, how are they going to learn their lesson? Know with the King of Cups that your person is very emotionally intelligent as well. Again, that's twin flame energy. Know that even if the universe makes this decision for them and makes it happen for them and forces their hand, they will still eventually understand. They will gain the same wisdom of the situation that it needed to happen, and this is why. How it happens doesn't matter. It just matters that it does happen. And with that, I'm going to get some closing messages for you guys, if I can. I have one deck left that I didn't use, which is another deck that I've never used in a reading with another person, and that's for two reasons. One is that it's very hard to shuffle because these are round cards. Oh, there we go. And the other one is that it is one of, I don't usually like reading the book, but this is one deck that I pull out the book for because it's very poignant. And we got the Orphan, and I'm just gonna read for you what the card is. They're telling me to read right away. Here he is, the Orphan. The wounded child, the abandoned, the beggar. To study the orphan is to study the deep and challenging energy of our time. We are ever more connected, yet face collective isolation. The refugee crisis haunts our planet. Children are separated from parents, and the earth begs for our attention. We are in a time of universal orphanage, of nature, of each other, of our own hearts. Take refuge in the fact that we all share this core wounded dilemma. It is normal to fear this card as it haunts the caverns of the soul. When it appears, take time, real time, to be in the presence of the feelings this card stirs in you. Let it humble you. What are you starving for? What is the deepest gift you can imagine giving to others? What has been rejected is quite possibly what is most needed, dear one. And then we have access this archetype through creative acts like drawing, painting, or writing. Keep it simple. Ask the orphan what it wants to draw, make, say. Tenderness beyond tenderness is required. Imagine holding yourself in your hands. To recognize that each one of us fears rejection, isolation, is to take one step toward the orphan. More kindness always. And then, when light, deep solace, deep acceptance, deep love. When dark, distanced, hates, and avoids, controlling, limited. Go deeper, Mary Oliver's The Kitten. So I want to point to the when light and when dark part of this, and I feel like this card is letting me know, because I feel like a lot of times when I do love readings, we get like the mirror image. I think that you're reflecting the light image of this, that deep empathy. You know how I said when you and this person argued, you may have had like this point of view where you're like, okay, they were, maybe that was kind of messed up, but that's understandable because you come at them with so much empathy and love. And I feel like that's the energy you're in and have been in with this person for a while, is seeing them from a space of maybe they lash out at you, maybe they, sometimes they're triggered and it causes them to act really grumpy or take things out on you. You have always seen the orphan inside of this person, the scared little child, and that's kind of who you've been tending to. I think that your person was in the opposite side of that, of being the orphan, who's the dark side of it. The hate, the distancing themselves, self-sabotage, things like that. I think with this card, they have the child reaching out their hand to the flower. I feel like your person is starting to nurture their own inner child and heal them, and almost that you what your person needed most of all was to approach their own inner orphan with the same love and kindness that you reached out to it. And it's like they're saying that you taught that person how. And now they're doing it for themselves, finally modeling some of the things that you taught them. That is closing message. Kind of heavy, but I'm gonna end it here. I hope this helped. I hope you enjoyed everything. A reminder to like, subscribe, all of that awesome stuff. If I am not too lazy to, I will list the decks that I use in the description, as well as my Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo, because I do not have any other form of income other than this channel. And if you can't donate, subscribing would be very, very helpful. Anyways, have a nice day. I hope you guys are great. I'll see you next video.